I think typically the breakdown is that if it's evil, people say it's not from God, right?
Yeah, a lot of time, most of the time, that's the case.
Okay.
But sometimes a person or one could say or do things that opens doors that they open, that are not good, that could be evil or negative, that God didn't open. Does that make sense?
It does. But okay, I want to share this with you. There is only one source. There is only one source for all things. Um, with our human mind, we want there to be a divide so it makes more sense to us, but this is not the case. Lucifer is God's creation. Therefore, everything that Lucifer has, God has given him. But okay, okay, Deb,
Yes.
I'm gonna speak to you from a place I do not speak to believers from. Like I don't go here. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm gonna use the Bible to illustrate this.
Okay.
So you know when the Spirit, okay, in the Old Testament, when the Israelites wanted a king and Saul was their first king, right? When the Spirit of God had left him because it had come upon David because David was next in line, the Bible says that God sent an evil spirit to Saul. It's this is First Samuel, right? The Bible says that God sent the evil spirit to Saul that was tormenting him, and that's the reason David had to play the harp to bring relief. There's a much deeper principle, but it says that God sent the evil spirit. Let's go to another place where it's very, very clear. Um, in in First Kings, Ahab is going to a prophet that you don't hear in the pulpit, Micaiah. He's going to Micaiah to ask, should we go into combat? Um should I take us into combat, right? So he asked Micaiah. Micaiah is telling him no. The Lord is saying no. Because Ahab has gone to his prophets already and they're telling him yes. They're telling him, yes, you'll be victorious. He goes to Micaiah and Micaiah is saying, no, let me tell you what I saw. I'm looking at heaven right now, and I saw God ask, who will go down to deceive Ahab so that he will die before the person he's trying to kill? This prophet is telling the king that he saw God ask, who will go down to deceive Ahab so that he will die? Now this is the real prophecy, though, Deb. Like this is when a prophet has the complete understanding, because what he's trying to tell Ahab, he's trying to give him insight. Ahab is convinced that he will win because the prophets around him have told him, "Yo, like you'll be victorious." Micaiah is telling him, "No, your prophets are telling you that because God allowed the evil spirit of deception. In fact, He called for it." And someone stood up. So they're operating in that unknowingly.
Gotcha.
So there is no. So are you? Is there discomfort in you with this understanding?
Uh-uh.
Okay, can we go further then?
Uh-huh.
In God's eyes. Okay. With the Lucifer thing, when we say he's a perfect source because he's like the beginning of it. He's number two in heaven in his eyes. You see, So what he's doing in his process is trying to separate himself from the Father to see how far he can go. He's trying to separate himself. He's trying to see who he is outside of God. Okay. All of that space is ignorance.
Right.
Okay. Now, so whenever we step out, whenever we step away from the Father, because you can step away and learn something good and it not be evil. But when you step away from the Father and you decide you want to take the essence, that you still want to try to take the essence of God with you, then you start operating in evil.
Right.
So what you were describing earlier about the jealousy. So this is someone who's seen themselves in an elevated position in their mind. Someone else is jeopardizing that, right? So in that point, that person feels exactly like Lucifer does. No, it's me. I'm the one. But look at me. So it's when a person, evil only exists, and this is a human concept. Evil exists when you decide to move away from the Father and try to take the Father's essence with you. That's iniquity. That's what we're describing. That's where all malice comes from. So for us to see the truth of God, the fullness, and operate in the power so that there's demonstration, this is the understanding that we must have. In truth, there is no evil. Evil is a season. Evil is a season. In the Old Testament, it talks about how someone's asking God, when will the Israelites not be oppressed? And it's literally like, no, this other tribe that they're fighting against, their iniquity hasn't come to fruition yet. I have to let that happen first. In Revelation, it talks about how Satan is cast down, but it's for a season. So evil in God's eyes is a season. If leaves could speak, they would say that winter is evil.
Yeah.
You see, and that's what the human is doing, but it's wrong. It's all a process. It's all a process in the cycle. As the believer, though, to avoid that activity, you can't have ideas in your mind that are not of God and avoid it. Ideas like fear. As long as that exists, then you'll be pulled into it. Ideas like pride. As long as you have pride in you, you will be pulled into the cycle of evil, where you can be touched. The objective is to overcome it all, not to have it working in you, not to compare yourself. Jealousy does not exist without comparison. Envy does not exist without comparison. So then it can't impact us unless we have some comparison in us.
Do you believe that God will allow evil to happen or occur in order for blessings to come for an individual, or to allow evil to come so that to come in a person's life so that I guess so that person can be pulled out of their comfort zone, or so that they can be pulled more into their purpose or their destiny?
I understand the
concept.
Yes, ultimately what you're saying is right. It's not that evil is being allowed. Evil is a part of the plan. Right. Evil creates a greater love. God is interested in a perfect love. In order for that to exist, there must be a lot of what we call evil for us to perfect this down here, for us to have understanding of what we're loving, so that we're no longer judgmental in our minds. We have to know the depth of hurt, pain, all of the dark things, right? And by embracing that those things exist, not trying to defend ourselves when we walk into those spaces and blame others when they walk into those spaces, by acknowledging those things that exist and by seeing that we can be better, we create a greater love immediately. We create a greater love. So someone hurt me this time, and it impacted me. The next time my heart is broken, it impacted me. I recover, I overcome. My love has also increased every single time, as long as I make the decision for that to be right. So it is that there is no allowance. It's in the plan. It's how you move with it. Okay, so that's really what's happening. Deb, this isn't belief because it's on a cycle. It's on a track. This is on a track. So take it out of, we're human, so we experience emotion. Take it to something that God created. Take it to the plants, crops, right? Every year, after they can't grow, they produce more. The next year, they produce more than they did. The crop is greater. The fruit is bigger. Every single year, that is the cycle. We're also on that. We get emotional and get locked up into what happened last year, though.
Yeah.
But in the Old Testament, it's a reason that, for the first 3 years, when they went into a land, for the first 3 years, they couldn't eat of the land. The first 3 years that they considered the land uncircumcised. They ate it the fourth year. That was the year of harvest. They were giving it time to overcome, to become more perfect. We are wired the same way. But there is nothing is allowing winter to come. Nothing allows the seasons to come. They're going to come. It is how you perceive the seasons. So we're there. There is no evil in the perfect understanding. There is no evil, because you understand whatever is coming at you is for your trying, is to make you better. It is bringing you perfect into a more perfect understanding and bringing heaven closer to you as you move closer to it.
Right.
Okay, I really hope you feel me.
No, I do. I completely understand what you're saying.
Is there disagreement?
No.
Okay. When evil must be a concept in the mind because it gives you something to avoid. That's the importance of evil being a concept for us, because immediately there's a reaction on the inside of us, right? Like, look at temptation operating in a person, right? Is a desire and something saying no. Right. It's that no that lets us know there's evil here. Now, in that space of no, you have an option always, because God has given you free will. In that option, you may find that you expand. Also, in that option, you find that you get hurt and that it's detrimental to you, right? So it is not that we fear the option and call the option evil because it's foreign to us. It's that we examine it and see if it's allowed in permissive free will in our lives.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay. You feel me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There I'm like compelled to give you examples of this.
Okay.
I really wanted to. This is the more important point. A point of discernment, because that's really how we overcome the whole thing. Solomon writes about how you shouldn't talk evil about the king. It doesn't matter if you're in your bedchambers. It doesn't matter. A little bird will always tell him. He'll always be notified of when you're talking evil about him, right? The reason that's true, and this is true with me, I experience this daily. The reason this is true is because we've submitted ourselves to God. We belong to the Father, right? When somebody has determined they're going to be our enemy, the Bible says that God makes your enemies your footstool. So I know the law is because I belong to the Father. Anyone that has determined they are my enemy is my footstool. There is no decision to be anything greater than that. That is the law, right? So now with that, so that lets me know I have nothing to worry about. It is absolutely true. I never have anything to worry about because I'm covered. If there's ever anything that comes up that wants to attack me, I'm warned about it beforehand. There are no surprises in my life. And that's the matter of discernment that comes. So when discernment is there, you look at evil and you see how foolish it is. You see it's something trying to be something it can't be. You see it's powerless. So then what do we define that? It's not evil. It doesn't impact you. It's something laughable.
Yeah.
So that's why we ascend to a much greater understanding, because evil is only a concern in our minds if we're being impacted by it. Then we label, then we categorize it. But if it doesn't touch you, if it cannot touch you, then what's the use of labeling it something in you? It's just like anything else that cannot touch you. You know, and you watch the activity go about. You know that it's an operation of ignorance. You know the Father's not in it. Anytime there's judgment, anytime somebody's talking about you behind your back, they have fear. They're afraid to confront the issue. They're insecure.
Right.
So why would I let something weak impact how I feel? It can't impact my day. I know what I'm working with. It knows what it's working with. That's why it can't talk to me. So we walk around with something different, and that is the boldness that we carry. That can't be shaken because God is in it. Well, I'm constantly connected to the Father. No man gets to have evil thoughts about me and I not be made aware. As long as I'm in communion, I'm going to be tapped on my shoulder. And that tapping lets me know, okay, you have options as to how you want to navigate this. Now I can begin and to behave like the old Drew, something violent, but I know what comes from that. I'm no longer ignorant in that space. I learned that violence begets more violence. So I won't sow that seed. I learned that sowing seeds of peace gets me what I want, which is peace.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But I had to take the option first. God permitted that for me. He wants me to learn. He wants me to make this thing perfect. You know, so I used to use my mind. I used to become emotional. I used to feel it. Then I started using the spirit, my discernment, my awareness. That's where the growth comes in. That's the reason evil does not exist in my mind. Evil existed before because I could become it quickly. So like in the perfect understanding, it is absolutely non-existent. You see it as a season. I see that I was part of the season before. I was part of the season people didn't want around. I saw that my tests in life, when I didn't handle them, they became other people's tests. Something for them to deal with. You see? So I can't see that unless I test it, unless I'm part of it to some extent. Now, but once I overcome and I see, okay, I was a judgmental person. I was prideful. Look at my arrogance. I thought I was something. I was trying to prove something to myself and others. Look at how violent that thing behaves. Once I see that I'm no longer part of the activity, I've overcome it. We're to do that in every single space in our lives, you know, because we're kept constantly. I wake up knowing I'm kept. I can have dreams about the evil in Georgia regarding me and be absolutely fine. On the other end, I'm receiving for the lost, those who need help, and I can receive for them and help them along their path. That's what I'm here for. I know that the evil exists because I'm doing a good work. Right. The more evil that comes at me is the evidence I'm doing great work.
Right.
This thing needs to be stopped. You know, so there's never any concern in me. There is grace. I'm privileged. I feel honored that God will put me in this position to deal with it. I get to see it all. I'm not a part of it. I don't get sucked into it anymore. It can't
Right.
impact me. It doesn't impact my emotions. I don't want to hurt nobody no more.
That's good.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
but each has their own journey.
Right.
Because the man I am now would not be able to deal with what he knows right now and not want to act on it in the physical realm. He would not know how to do it. He had to be taken through it first. He had to be a part of it. He had to have it come at him. He had to be aware there were people who wanted to kill him. He had to have that in his mind to understand, do you want to walk around like that? Because, like, even though I wasn't being jealous or envious, I was behaving in a way where people could be that towards me.
Mm.
In my pride, in my wanting to be dominant, in my demonstrating I am dominant. I don't want to be that. Neither would I want my son to be that. I want him to walk in peace.